This exercise is about a car which has to turn around a polygon. So the car is equipped with some sensors. It is able to measure its distance from the center to the polygon. It is also able to measure its speed and also the angle of the front wheel. And with these measurements only, we have to find a controller so that the car turns around a polygon. But the car does not know the shape of the polygon. Okay. And in the first question, we'll have to do some geometry that will be used later in the exercise. Here we have a car, and the car has this shape. This corresponds to the body of the car. Here the rear axle with the two back wheels. Here the front axle with the front wheels. So the center of the car will correspond to the point M. The heading of the car will be called theta. Here we have X and Y. So here the center of the car, it will be X and Y, or we'll call it sometime also MX or MY, to be sure that it is the center of the car. And the speed is V. The angle of the wheel, so we will assume that the left and right front wheels have the same angle, named theta. So this amounts to say that we have only one wheel which corresponds to the center, which has an angle corresponding to delta. Okay. Now there is a laser which is here, and there is a vector u from M, and the laser goes to this direction. And the laser will collide a segment A and B and will return the distance between M and A and B. So of course, if there is no segment, the segment is the point of the polygon. For instance, it can be A and B here. It can be this segment, but it can also be this one, or so on. So the first question will be about the geometry with respect to one segment. Oh, we have the point M, A and B corresponding to the segment, and U the direction of the laser. So the laser corresponds to a half line that will intersect the segment, and we have to show that the intersection condition between the segment and the half line are given by these two inequalities. And moreover, so to satisfy these inequalities, we need to know U, B, and M. And then, if these conditions satisfied, then the distance returned by the laser, or if you prefer, the distance from the point M to the segment AB following the direction U, is given by this expression, and it is what we'll have to prove. So we have to prove the following theorem. If we have this, then the half line, so D starting from M with the direction U, intersect the segment AB. And in this case, the laser will return this distance from M to the segment AB following the direction U. So it is what we have to prove. So for this, I will define the picture. I have here A and B. I have the point M, which is here, and I have the vector U, which is like this. So we need to understand for this that the point M and the vector U define two half-planes. So this half-plane, if I call it Z, this vector is on the right of U. So if I write this, I obtain that the determinant of Z minus M, here it is Z minus M, this vector, with U is greater than 0. All points here satisfy this inequality, which is linear. And all points here satisfy the inequality determinant of Z minus M, U is negative. And the line here corresponds to the equality equal to 0. So here I use the determinant. I need some explanation. If I have two vectors U and V of R2, both belong to R2. So what I call the determinant of U and V corresponds to the determinant of the matrix Ux, Uy, Vx, Vy, which is equal to Ux times Vy minus Vx multiplied by Uy. Okay. So this is we have to understand that if U is here and V is here, the determinant corresponds to the volume or to the area of the parallelepiped with the side of which corresponds to U and V. But there is a sign, it can be minus or plus. So in this case, the determinant of U and V is positive because U is on the right of V. If here I have U and V, here the determinant of U and V is negative because U is on the left of V. So if I have here, for instance, U like this and V like this, it is still negative. Here, the same, if I have U like this and V like this, the determinant is negative. But there is also another situation that could appear. If U is like this and V is like this, then the determinant of U and V equal to 0. If U is like this and V is like this, the determinant is also equal to 0. So it is important to know these properties. Now we have also another property that is important, is that the determinant is multilinear. So what does it mean? So the first point was the sign of the determinant. The second point is the multilinearity. So if I have here, let's say, a linear combination AU plus BV. So A and B are real, and U and V are vectors. And here I will have Cx plus dy, also x and y are vectors. So I can write that it is equal to A multiplied by the determinant of U Cx plus dy plus B determinant of V Cx plus dy. So I put a rows on vectors, and here I use the linearity with respect to the first argument of the determinant. Now I will use the linearity with respect to the second argument, and this, since I have the linearity with respect to the first and also to the second, this is what I call it multilinear. So here I will have equal to AC times determinant of U and X plus BC multiplied by determinant of V and X plus AD determinant U and Y, and here plus BD determinant of V and Y. Of course, I should put a rows everywhere here. So we have understood that with M and U, we define two half-planes, one defined by this inequality, one defined by this inequality. We can understand that the laser from M with the direction U will intersect the segment AB if A is in one of the half-plane and B on another. So it means that I will replace Z by A or B. So A and B are in different half-plane, is one satisfies this inequality and the other satisfies this inequality. So it means that the product determinant of A minus M U, so multiply by determinant of B minus M U is negative. So in this situation, this one is negative, the other one is positive, but it couldn't be the contrary. And this condition corresponds to this inequality. So A and B should be in different half-plane. So what about the second inequality? So there is a situation that we don't want to have the laser that will intersect the segment, that is the following. I have A here and B, which corresponds to a wall. So on a wall there is so assume that M is now here and U is like this. So we can understand that B and A are on different half-plane, but due to the fact that we have only a half-line, the laser will not intersect AB. So in this situation, I will form two vectors. This vector M minus A and this vector correspond to b minus a. So in this situation, we can understand that the determinant of m minus a b minus a in this situation is positive. So it is not a good situation for us because there is no intersection. So here I can replace this by if I have this, so a minus m, then m will be here in this part of with respect to a and b, and then I will have an intersection. But also I have here that u is going to the right. So if u goes to the right, m should be on the left. So that's why I have to add the situation. Determinant of u b minus a should be positive. So in this case, m is not here, it is here, and u goes to the right. M is on the left, u goes to the right. But it could be the contrary. For instance, if here I have b and here I have a, then I will have the contrary. That is why I have to write the condition. The product of this time this should be positive. So it is exactly what is written here. Product should be positive. So I have proved the condition of intersection. So now I assume that I have this condition satisfied, and I need to compute the distance. So I will consider a situation where I have a here, b here. Here it corresponds to the segment. I have m here, u like this, and u is unitary, so the norm is equal to 1. And this point I will call z. So it plays an important role since it will give me the distance. In this situation, these two inequalities are satisfied. So I will z is equal to m plus something times u, where alpha corresponds to the distance, of course. So what happened is that z, when alpha moves, z can move on this half line, and when alpha is negative, z will be on the other side. Now, to have z, the intersection, I need to have the vector z minus a should be collinear to b minus a. So it means that z belongs to the segment AB if the determinant of z minus a b minus a is equal to 0, the condition of collinearity. This is equivalent to say that the determinant of, so z is m plus alpha u, so minus a, b minus a, is equal to 0. And the unknown is, of course, alpha. To isolate alpha, I will have to get it out from the determinant. So I will use the linearity with respect to the first argument. So here I will have determinant of m minus a. So after I will take care about alpha u, b minus a plus alpha determinant of u b minus a, and this should be equal to 0. Then I will isolate alpha, and I obtain that alpha is equal to, so I will divide by the determinant of u and b minus a, and here I will have minus determinant of a minus a, b minus a. So to have something similar to the theorem, I will enter the minus here and replace m minus a by a minus m as here. So this corresponds to the distance d, which is positive. So we can notice that if the distance is negative, it means that this is negative, so m is not on the right side of the segment AB. Question number 2. We have to make the car moving, not without any regulator, but first moving around the polygon and to take some measurements of the distance. Later, these measurements will be used by the regulator to control the car. So we have a model where a state equation where x, y, theta, v, delta correspond to the state variable, and u1, u2 correspond to the control. We also have a polygon which is represented by a matrix, and each column vector of this matrix correspond to a vertex of the polygon. So the polygon is closed since the first vertex and the last one are both equal. So from this we need to find an expression of the observation function. So it will make me possible to return using the simulator the measured distance by the laser, by the rangefinder, and also the speed and delta. It is what should return my observation function. So recall that here I have my car given here. The rear wheel and the front wheel. Here it corresponds to delta. We can understand that when delta is equal to 0, then the car is not turning. This is why here I have a sign of delta, which shows me that the rotation rate, so the derivative of theta, the heading, is proportional to the speed, but also proportional to the sign of delta. Also, here I have x and y, the position of the center. Here the speed v of the car, so it corresponds to the speed of this point here. And u1 is the control of the speed, so it is the accelerator, and this one corresponds makes me possible to change the angle of the front wheel. Okay, so now this corresponds to the evolution function, but usually we have also another thing, which gives me a vector y, which is different from this one. This one corresponds to this, but the measurement, we usually call it y, and it is a function of j. And as written in the exercise, y corresponds to what I measure. So it is the speed, v, the angle, delta, but also this distance, d. So recall that in a very general way, a robot or vehicle is described by an evolution function and an observation function. This is why here I use both y, classical sense, coordinate, and y also in control. We use it as the measurement of vectors. Now, how can I get this? I will build an algorithm which is based on the previous formula. So, algorithm for to describe me the function j of x. So, x, recall that x has 5 dimensions, x1, x5, and corresponds to what is called here x, y, theta, v, and delta. Take care again, this x is not the same as this one. So I will build M, the center. So x1, x2, that are known by the algorithm because I know x. M correspond to this point. Then I will build U, and recall that U is like this because the direction of the laser is on the right, perpendicular to the axis of the vehicle. So U corresponds to sine theta, so sine x2, x3, because x3 corresponds to theta, minus cos x3. So this is U here. Then I will have to build all the segments in a for loop. So I have many segments. I have these segments, and so on. This one, and so on. So I will perform a for loop for I belongs to first segment up to m minus 1, where m is the number of points. So m minus 1 corresponds to the number of segments. Then from this, I will build for each segment A and B. So I will write A equal the taken from the polygon pi of E. So here I will have, for instance, say P1, P2, P3, P4, and so on, P5. Okay, so I will write M equal P of I and B equal P of I plus 1. Okay, now I know that alpha corresponds to the distance if the conditions are satisfied. So alpha corresponds to determinant of m minus m p minus a divided by determinant of u p minus a. So it corresponds to the distance if the conditions are satisfied. Now I will initialize the first distance. I assume that at the beginning I have no segment. So the distance at the beginning is equal to plus infinity. But after it will change, since each time I add a new segment, I will decrease d, because maybe it will be the right segment that will be intersected. Now, if the condition of intersection is satisfied, so to be satisfied, it means that the determinant of a minus m u multiplied by determinant of b minus m u negative, it is the first condition, and the second condition is and alpha positive. In this situation, the new distance d will have to take into account the new segment that is now considered, and it will be the mean between the previous distance and the new distance. Okay, so let me explain this on a picture. Assume that I have here m, here the firstly u, and assume that I have measured before this distance. So it means that there is a old segment which is here. If now I have a new segment here, A and B, then the alpha, so maybe not this here like this, maybe like this, okay. A and B. The new alpha will be smaller than the previous one, so it will be clear that you have no laser here. Only the first one, the nearest one, will be the responsible of the distance returned by the laser. This is why I have the mean. And now I return at the end all measurements. So recall that the measurements are the distance d, it was x4 and x5, where x4 corresponds to the speed v, which is usually known on a car due to odometers, and here x4 to the angle of the wheel delta. Both corresponds to proprioceptive sensor, since they are inside the car and the measure feature of the cars, where this one is an interaction of the environment, and it is called an exteroceptive sensor. So I will illustrate now by a simulation the evolution of the car and also the observation of the observation function that had just been proposed in the previous question. So the main program starts here, where I draw the figure, I define the polygon here, I take some initial condition x of 0 here, where x is of dimension 5. The sampling time, I have my loop of simulation. At each step I clear the figure, I generate the data, I take a control equal to 0, 0, I integrate by an Euler formula, and I draw the car and I draw the polygon. So I explain we can recognize the observation function seen in the previous question. Oh, here m correspond to x and y as defined here, where it is defined as mx and my, this one. U is defined here. Then d is initialized at infinity. Then for all vertex of my polygon, I build the segment AB here, here also. I compute alpha here and here. Then I check my condition here, my inequality here and here. And then I will return the distance, but also the speed and the angle of the front wheel. Okay, now about the observation function. it corresponds to this differential equation. So this corresponds to f of x and u, which is defined here. So here I extract from x theta, v, and delta, and then this corresponds to that, this to that, this to that, and here it is a control u1 and u2, which is integrated here in the Euler formula. So if I now simulate this with Python, I take the same program, I run it, and I can see here my car moving like this with the correct distance since I draw the laser. Okay. Now, of course, I can take some other initial conditions. For instance, I can turn left instead of turning right here. I can change the speed. For instance, I can start with a speed equal to 1, and I can accelerate here. Okay. So now, if I run this program, I will obtain something totally different, where I turn a little left. I start from, I accelerate, so probably I do not accelerate enough, so I will accelerate more. Let's say 0.5. So I started with a very small speed, and I will try to turn a little bit more. So here I put 0.1. Okay. So I run it. So I turn a little bit more. My acceleration, and we can it's not enough, so I will take something larger, 30 in my loop. So I turn left, and then I will see here that the distance corresponds to infinity, and the laser is not represented anymore. Question number 3. Now we want to find a controller, but for the controller it is important to know that the car has no GPS, no compass, so it is not able to measure its state, and it cannot. It has no idea of the polygons is turning around to, and it will be difficult to build a state observer that will allow us to find the position. So we have to imagine something, and what is noted here is that to drive a car, we don't need to know our own position, we don't need any compass, we just need the relative position of our car with respect to the road. So we'll try to copy this idea in order to build a regulator. So here it is the real world, where I have a car, a polygon, but the car has no idea of the polygon, it has no idea of its position, only this distance, only the angle of the wheel, only its speed, and from this it has to build a controller. So it will imagine a world, it will imagine that the polygon is like this. Okay, of course it is not like this, but we'll imagine like this. The car will also imagine that it is able to move like this, only on this line, like in a video game. So we'll have a car like this, with the 2 wheels, and the front wheels also. And when we'll have a speed like this, then the car will not move like this, but will move to the left, like in a video game. So we'll consider the previous model and we'll adapt it to this new world. So what we can I can represent as follows: the car which is here. Imagine that the world is like this. That it goes, for instance, to the north, and in this world it will be able to reconstruct from the measurements. So the measurements are like this, the speed and the angle. From the measurements in this ideal world, it will be able to reconstruct its position, and it will try to regulate its position using a linear controller. And then we will plug this controller inside the real car in its real world. So it is the main idea. So for this, we take the previous model, which was given like this, and we'll adapt this. So this model corresponds to the real world. Now, in this world, we'll have x dot equal also to v cos delta cos theta, but now x, which was corresponding to this like this, and y was like this, here it will be correspond to the distance here on the left side of the wall. So this is why here I will put a minus, because the signification of x is now the distance of the wall and not to the x-axis represented in the real world. Now this one does not exist anymore, since the car should stay on this line. Now this one I will keep theta dot equal v sine delta. Here v dot equal u1 and theta dot equal u2. Okay. Now I will propose a simulation for this. And I will consider this program. The evolution function is coded. No, this evolution function here is here. I will initialize like this, so we can see that, for instance, the distance to the wall. So this situation represents the wall here. A distance for the car of 5.5. The angle theta with something like p divided by 2. So the car could be like this, approximately like this. Now for the speed, it is equal to 6.7 for the speed, and then here the wheel will be like this. So it means that the car will probably should in the real world go like this, but I will see the car moving to the left and turning on to its left like this. So this is what I will see on the simulation. So my polygon is now totally different. It corresponds to this polygon here. This is my new polygon, which is here, and I have my Euler formula for the simulation, And for the input, I put nothing. It means that I have no acceleration and I do not touch to the direction of the vehicle. Moreover, the distance which is written by the vehicle is this distance. Oh, it corresponds to the distance here, which is mx, which is positive, but also due to the heading, which is not exactly parallel to the wall, I will have to divide by the sine of theta to have something larger than mx. This is why here, in the observation equation, I have this. Moreover, I added a small noise, normal noise here, to perturbate the measurements. So the controller will try to compensate all this. So let me propose a simulation. I go to Spider, I run it. I can see that it is going to the left and it stays at the zero, on the zero horizontal line. Question number 4. To find the controller, a linear method for finding the controller is to choose an operating point such that I can control the system around this operating point. This means that the distance is 5 to the wall, the angle is p divided by 2, it means parallel to the wall, the speed is 7, and the angle of the wheels is 0. Also, the control is 0. So, around this operating point, I will linearize to approximate my system by a linear system in order to find the controller in the next question. So my system is like this. This is the observation function. This is the evolution. The input is u. This corresponds to the ideal world represented in this picture. Later in the next question, I will to find a regulator for this, a controller. I will insert y, it will compute u, and we'll have a set point w, which corresponds to some state variable I want to control. Now about the operating point. I have chosen in the exercise x bar equal to 5 p divided by 2, 7 and 0. This corresponds to theta, this one corresponds to delta, this one corresponds to the speed, this one corresponds to the distance. So it means that here I have the wall, here I have my car on this. It will be like this, not exactly like this, exactly like this to be an operating point, because in the operating point I recall that I should have x dot u f of x bar u bar should be equal to 0. So it's some kind of equilibrium situation, since here u bar is equal to 0. I do not accelerate, I do not turn, this is why u bar should be equal to 0 if I want this to be equal to 0. To find the operating point, I have several positions. For instance, I can have different position, different speed, but always u bar will be equal to 0 due to this. And theta could be equal to theta bar could be equal to more or less p divided by 2, depending if I go forward like this or negative if I go downward. Okay, so here the speed is 7 and the angle here is 0. So we can understand, we easily check that we have this. So we can linearize around this. So if I linearize, I will obtain the matrix A, B, and C. The matrix A, so I will give them now. I will not compute all these coefficients. So it will be like this, 0, 0, 0, 7. For B, I get 0, 0, 0, 0, and the 1 due to this and this, 1, 1, 0, 0. For C, since I measure, so if I linearize, I will obtain 1, because here I have x 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. And for D, of course, it will be the matrix with only 0. So I don't need this one. Okay, so it means that approximately, if this corresponds, if x corresponds to the distance to the wall, so here called x, theta v delta. So if I have this system is approximately corresponds to something which is linear, which has the form x dot equal a to x minus x bar plus p u minus u bar, but u bar is equal to 0, y dot equal c x minus x bar, okay, plus 0. So this one is approximately equal to them. Okay, so just to understand, how can I compute, for instance, this coefficient? So I take this one and I will compute the derivative of the function of this function, so minus v cos delta cos theta. So due to the fact that it is the first line, it corresponds to the first equation. So I take this function and I will compute the derivative with respect to the second variable, which corresponds here to theta. Theta is the second one. Okay, so here I will obtain so the partial derivative. So I will obtain minus v cos delta multiplied by sine theta, because the derivative of cos is minus sine, so here I have a plus. And now I will consider this derivative at the point x bar. So it means that here I have v bar cos theta bar sine theta bar. So this one is equal to 1 because theta bar is p divided by 2. This one also corresponds to 1, and this one, in the exercise, it is written that v bar is equal to 7, and this is why here I have 7. Okay, this can be done for this coefficient and all other coefficients, but all these ones are trivial. So now from A, B, C, and D, I can compute the regulator using the chi KLH procedure. Okay, so that will be performed in the next question. Next question. So we want the set points correspond to the distance to the wall and the speed of the car. So I can decide to control only two state variables because I have only two inputs, and here I have chosen to control the distance and the speed, which seems reasonable. And for this, I will use a pole placement method, and I will place the pole around -2 and -1. So I have to take care not to take all of them at the same point, because many pole placement algorithms are very sensitive to the fact that the poles that are placed should not be in the same place. After, it depends on the algorithm which is used. But in Python, the one in SIMP is not very robust with respect to this aspect. That's why I have to choose them quite separated. Okay. So now, since I want to control the first variable, so I want to control the distance, and also I want to control the speed. So it means that W will be related to X, and the matrix A will select these two variables. This is why I will choose E equal to 1 0 0 0 1 0, excuse me, 0 1 0 0. So it will select me in X the first and the third variable. That's why for KLH I have to give to this control methods A, B, and C. I will add E and also the poles. So I have to choose the pole for the control and the pole for the observation. For the, I will take them between -2, so I can take, for instance, -1, -0.3, not in the same place, 0.6, 2, like this. And also I will take the same for the control and for the observation. Then this one will give me some matrices AR, BR, CR, and DR, R like regulator. This will give me a system that will be inserted here for the control. So I have a state vector in the regulator which is named X hat, and the regulator will have to be programmed in the Python code. So the Python code, I now give it. So I can recognize here my evolution function for the car in my ideal world. Here the matrices that are obtained by linearization, and here the set point matrix. Here my algorithm KLH will give me the state matrices for my regulator. Here I ask to have a distance to the wall of 5 and a speed equal to 7. It is what I want. So it corresponds to my set point, W. Now here my operating point, which is corresponds to the position I want to be. W bar is related to X bar via the matrix E. Y bar also is obtained by selecting the variable I can measure in the situation where X corresponds to X bar. This is my initial vector. This is my initial vector for the regulator, and we observe that the two of them have the same dimension because in the simulation I propose, the real world corresponds to the world of my regulator. In the next question it will be different. So in this real world I follow a wall. Okay. So everything is in my ideal world. Here I make some measurement with some noises as before, and here I have my controller. So my controller is here and here. So it means that x hat, so it corresponds to xr here. X hat dot, the derivative, is equal to ar xr x hat plus br multiplied by the input of my controller. But the input of my controller, so the output is u, of course, but the input is w, the set point, but also what I measure. This is why here I have to take w minus w bar, here y minus y bar, because this corresponds both to the input of my controller. And here the output is u, so I will u equal to cr multiplied by x hat plus dr multiplied also by this input vector y minus y bar. The integration of this one is here implemented by an Euler formula. This is why here I have this plus the evolution, so this multiplied by dt. The Euler formula is also used to integrate my real system, so my real, in the ideal world, of course. Okay. And here I plot my laser. If I run this program, I will obtain the following. We can see that I can control with respect to a distance equal to 5, so this corresponds to the distance I wanted to be. So of course, to see more, I will add some noise. For instance, I will put 0.1, which corresponds to a distance of 10 centimeters, and probably I will see the effect of noise. Here we can see it, but okay, it's not so. Probably I will take more noise. It's quite a lot. So we can see the effect of noise, but the convergence is still quite good. Okay, I will put more noise. Let's say 1. So we can see that the distance now is influenced by the noise, but the control is quite good. Question number 6, I have to test the behavior of the linear controller in the case where my real system, where the car is turning around the polygon. So recall that I had my system here, which was imagined by the controller, and in this system I made the synthesis of the controller, which takes y corresponding to the distance, so here the angle of the wheel and the speed. Okay, the controller with R, BR, CR and DR depending on two inputs, W the set point and Y due to the sensors, and generate U for the control of the direction and the acceleration. And all this word is almost linear, but it is not the true one. So now what I will do, I will remove this linear word. I will take my controller and I will put it in my car in the real world, like this. Okay, so the algorithm inside the car is exactly the same as it follows the road. So we can understand that due to the fact that the car has a feeling to follow road, there is no need of a GPS, and there is no need of a compass. There is just need a reconstruction of the position of the virtual road that exists around the car. So this is what I will do on the Python program. So here it is the actual observation function with respect to the polygon. The polygon here is a true one. Here the evolution corresponds to x belonging to R5 and not R4 as in the controller. So this one is a real. This one is also the real. But the controller is the same as in the linear world. So this one corresponds to the linear world, and also this one is computed for the linear world. Okay, this one is of dimension 4, but the true vector is of dimension 5 due to y. Okay. Now I have my control loop with here the linear controller, so linear, also linear evolution, but here it is the real system that is integrated, so real also. So this is the real system, and this is a linear controller which imagine inside its behavior a linear world. So let me propose a Python simulation, which is given here. I run it. We can see now the car, which measures the distance, turning around the polygon. It does not know its position, it has the feeling to follow a straight wall. The distance is approximately equal to 5. The speed is approximately equal to 7 because we ask to have these set point values. All transitions are considered by the system as noise.